I'm Thalia Ashuris. Storm warnings from the south to the northeast. Harry Srinivasan has the latest from today's tornado strike zone. Vice President Cheney standing firm on Iraq. Bob Schieffer reports on his exclusive interview. Vaccine controversy. Why some in the military have serious doubts about mandatory anthrax inoculations. And royal breakup rumors. Richard Roth looks at the end of the romance between Prince William and Kate Middleton.
This is the CBS Evening News with Thalia Ashuris.
Good evening, everyone. People up and down much of the East Coast are battening down tonight for a powerful spring storm. Forecasters are predicting heavy rain and coastal flooding from the storm overnight and into tomorrow. The storm spawned tornadoes in parts of the south central states. Harry Srinivasan is in Texas tonight.
Friday the 13th featured Mother Nature at her worst in North Texas. Driving rains, pounding hail, and a tornado packing winds of 110 miles an hour. The fury ripped off roofs, tossed around vehicles, and claimed at least 3 lives, including a 26-year-old Irving, Texas police officer who lost control of his squad car on a slick street.
We've got a lot of officers that are very tight. We are a family, and this is, again, one of those times that really tests us.
At this house in Haltom City, Texas, the Munoz family huddled in a bathroom while a tornado knocked a large tree into their home.
It was pretty scary, you know.
The action all happened around rush hour, and it turned a few commuters into cameramen. With cell phones and digital cameras, a few brave souls snapped shots as the twisters set down. Like this cell phone video shot by a man driving down the highway as the storm headed his way. And this image showing the size and scale of one twister.
Unbelievable, unbelievable, scared. Never have seen anything like this before in my life. And I have my 9-year-old son Onassis here with me, and we were scared, and my little girl.
If you were so scared, what made you grab a camera?
My husband took it. I didn't.
While some spent Saturday trying to clear debris, others huddled in prayer, thankful that early warnings and tornado sirens probably prevented more problems. Hari Srinivasan, CBS News, Haltom City, Texas.
For more on the storm and where it's headed, we turn to Bernie Rayno of AccuWeather. That's the question. What's going to happen this evening and tomorrow morning, Bernie?
Well, the focus this evening is going to be the severe weather across the southeastern part of the United States. In fact, by Sunday morning, the strong to severe thunderstorms will be from the eastern Carolinas down across the northern panhandle of Florida. Monday, the storm system heads toward the northeast. Sunday, we're looking for the heaviest rain to be along the I-95 corridor with perhaps flooding rains. We're going to see wind gusts along the New Jersey coast and southern New England up over 40 to 50 miles per hour, and across interior sections in the northeast up above 1,000 feet or so, we're going to see up over 6 to 12 inches of snow.
Oh dear. Biggest threat, though, is it going to be flooding all in all?
The biggest threat with this storm is going to be flooding, and also the tidal flooding and coastal winds up over 50 to 60 miles per hour, and we're going to see major beach erosion as well.
Bernie Rayno, thanks very much.
My pleasure.
Campaign finance figures released today show John McCain with just over $5 million in cash on hand. Now, that's half as much as top rivals Mitt Romney and Rudy Giuliani report. Most of the declared GOP candidates were in Iowa today, 9 months ahead of that state's first-in-the-nation caucuses. Here's Joey Chen.
Campaigning in a GOP race that's starting to look as wide open as an Iowa cornfield, former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani greeted supporters with a steady handshake, but what may not prove to be a very sturdy lead.
And we need your help, and we need your support.
In Des Moines, Giuliani and other top Republicans headlined the Lincoln Day Dinner, the kickoff event of Iowa's political season. Though a new CBS poll puts Giuliani well ahead of the GOP pack, there's a big but attached. The poll finds while 6 in 10 Democrats are satisfied with their party's presidential choices, 6 in 10 Republicans are still shopping for an alternative.
These are all signals that the base of the party is really not happy with where things are right now, and there's a void and there's an opening.
Want proof? Reed, who's not tied to any candidate, points to the sudden emergence of former Senator turned actor Fred Thompson. He's not even in the GOP race, but places first or second in some polls. And that casts a grim shadow over the party's top tier. What's more, party leaders fear the war. along with controversies over the Attorney General and other top presidential advisors, are pushing core voters away.
There's almost like a ding, ding, ding every day about something wrong, and it's really starting to affect the image of the party, and that's why you're seeing this erosion of support.
It is a delicate balance for Republican contenders. Avoid alienating the president's conservative base while keeping a safe distance from his troubles. Right now, even Iowa may not be far enough. Joey Chen, CBS News, the White House.
In the battle for Iraq, a string of bombings today killed more than 50 people across that country. The worst attack was at a bus stop in Karbala, where 37 died, including 16 children. Vice President Dick Cheney offers strong support for the war in an exclusive interview for tomorrow's Face the Nation. Chief Washington correspondent Bob Schieffer joins us now with a preview. Good evening, Bob.
Hi, Thalia. Well, the vice president came out swinging today. He said Democrats have gone from inconsistent to what he called irresponsible on the question of funding the war. But he also said that in the end, he believes they will drop demands to set a timetable for withdrawal and give the president the money he wants.
They will not leave the troops in the field without the resources they need to be able to carry out their
Well, what
mission.
if they don't do that?
Well, I'm willing to bet the other way. I don't think that a majority of the Democrats in the Congress want to leave America's fighting forces in harm's way without the resources they need to defend themselves.
But a majority of Americans do want a timetable for withdrawal.
Well, but you can also get a majority who I think would prefer to have us win.
And he went on to say that he and the president still believe that victory is possible, Thalia.
Well, Bob, what else did you and the vice president talk about?
Well, he said he still has confidence in the embattled Attorney General, but the thing I think that I found most interesting, he said he has not spoken to his longtime friend and aide, Scooter Libby, since Libby was convicted of perjury. When I asked him why, he said he just hasn't had the occasion.
Very interesting. Bob Schieffer, thank you. And you can see Bob's full interview with Vice President Cheney tomorrow morning on Face the Nation. A hotly contested Olympic event is settled tonight. The cities of Los Angeles and Chicago were vying to be the U.S. candidate to host the Summer Olympics in 2016. Though there is one more hurdle to get over, there is jubilation in one city tonight. Here's Jerry Bowen.
For the 2016 Olympic and Paralympic Games is Chicago.
In Chicago, former Olympians gathered at a local sports bar, and the news was met with euphoria.
I was very, very nervous, and that's why I jumped right out of the seat. I was like a little kid watching the Olympics.
In the end, Chicago's plan to hold 90% of all Olympic activities within 15 minutes of the Olympic Village helped it win the bid. In comparison, LA planned to host activities as far as 5 hours away in cities like Las Vegas. This will be Chicago's first time hosting the Olympics. The fact that Los Angeles played host to the Games twice before, in 1932 and 1984, may have hurt its chances. The U.S. Olympic Committee now takes its Chicago pitch to the International Committee, where it will compete against 5 other cities: Rio de Janeiro, Prague, Tokyo, Rome, and Madrid. But Chicago does have a fight ahead. It's a densely populated city, and officials have concerns adding an Olympic Village in its center might cause gridlock and crowd management problems. And unlike the Olympic athletes, whose goal is to set records for speed, the IOC will spend the next 2 years deciding who will carry the torch in 2016. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, dangerous days for protesters in Moscow, feeling the punch of President Putin's iron fist. Anti-government activists tried to rally today in Moscow, but riot police were ready for them. Hundreds of protesters were detained, including Garry Kasparov, the former world chess champion and an opposition leader. Now, public displays of unhappiness with the government in Russia are rare. The reason? President Vladimir Putin's iron grip. Elizabeth Palmer reports from Moscow.
The Kremlin has all but destroyed Russia's political opposition. What's left, an aging and marginal fringe, occasionally takes to the streets to protest against Vladimir Putin's policies. But it's risky business. Anyone with any power in this country knows that the price of hanging on to it is absolute loyalty to President Vladimir Putin. Those who dare oppose him are either punished or crushed. Like oil billionaire Mikhail Khodorkovsky, whose opposition to the Kremlin earned him a tax audit and jail in Siberia.
He was the wealthiest person in the country.
And those who aren't intimidated, says political analyst Masha Lipman, are co-opted.
The Kremlin, to its credit, resorts much more to carrot than the stick.
The carrot she's referring to is bribes. The Kremlin turns a blind eye to corruption in Russia's bureaucracy. And its vast oil revenue has created a comfortable Russian middle class, more interested in free markets than free speech.
You would rather enjoy your better lifestyle than bother and protest, thinking that probably this might get you in trouble.
One of the few journalists who still publicly takes on the Kremlin is editor Raf Shakirov. The latest edition of his magazine accuses Russia's Secret Service of killing the former KGB spy Alexander Litvinenko with polonium. But Shakirov knows he's running a risk.
Always, when I put these articles in this journal, I always think about my family. That's the problem.
You really think they might kill you?
Oh, hope not. It's quite a difficult question to answer.
Does it worry you?
Yeah.
Shakirov should worry. In the past 8 years, 13 journalists have been killed in mysterious circumstances in the new Russia, where Kremlin power tolerates no critics. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Moscow.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, an exclusive interview with a serviceman who has disobeyed orders by refusing the mandatory vaccination for anthrax. Last fall, the U.S. military reinstituted mandatory vaccination against anthrax for America's armed services for troops likely to be deployed overseas. But many service members question whether any country actually has weaponized anthrax, and they worry that the real enemy is the vaccine itself. The exclusive story of one service member who has refused the anthrax vaccine and the controversy over its safety is tonight's Weekend Journal.
I'm more worried about this vaccine than I'm worried about bullets.
Stationed overseas in a combat unit, this soldier told CBS News he refused the mandatory series of 6 shots after military buddies who got them died. Nor does he believe there is a real threat of an anthrax attack on U.S. troops.
I've never, in my military career, ever seen anybody come in contact with anthrax. I've never seen anybody taken from the battlefield because of anthrax. I just do not see the legitimacy in the anthrax shot.
He asked CBS not to reveal his identity in order not to further aggravate the commanders who will decide his future. After 15 years in the military, he could be court-martialed.
I think my career is over. I mean, I've pretty much came to that conclusion that my career is going to be over no matter what.
I've been diagnosed with chronic fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue.
Former Navy man Luis Hernandez says there is cause for concern. A 51-year-old New Yorker, he says he got sick after getting 4 anthrax vaccine shots in 2003 and was finally discharged from the military last month.
I have a cyst in my head. I have white matter stuff in the front of my skull.
Hernandez's medical records list symptoms including migraines, cognitive dysfunction, and chronic joint and muscle pain. He says Veterans Administration doctors told him he had a mystery illness. Now he's participating in a new study of the effects of the anthrax vaccine conducted by the Vaccine Healthcare Center, a little-known department at Walter Reed Army Medical Center.
They told me that the symptoms that I had, they had noted in other service members that had anthrax vaccines, and they just didn't know the remedy, how to fix this.
Anthrax vaccination for members of the military first became mandatory in 1998, though in 2004 a federal court halted the involuntary vaccinations, saying the vaccine had not been properly approved by the FDA. The FDA gave final approval to the vaccine in 2005, and last fall the Defense Department announced the resumption of the mandatory program. According to the Pentagon, some 1.5 million service members have received the shots.
We know that anthrax is deadly, and it's potentially that they could be exposed.
Colonel Randall Anderson, director of the Military Vaccine Agency, says the vaccination program is essential.
We have a licensed vaccine I think that we deserve it to our service members to protect them.
And defense officials say while there are side effects, the vaccine is safe.
All the different independent committees that have looked at this vaccine have said the anthrax vaccine is as safe as any other safe vaccine.
But the Government Accountability Office says that's impossible to say because the vaccine's long-term safety has not been investigated and data on short-term reactions are limited. The GAO says that 84% of vaccine recipients experience adverse reactions. And even material by the Institute of Medicine given to CBS News by Colonel Anderson says the vaccine is reasonably safe but relatively crude by current standards and calls urgently for a new and modernized vaccine. And the manufacturer's own insert in the vaccine warns of deaths associated with it. The Pentagon says it is not aware of any fatalities. No deaths?
No deaths associated with this anthrax vaccine.
Still, this soldier is asking one thing of his country, good science to protect him and his comrades, not just a shot in the dark.
There's been more complications from the anthrax vaccine than there has been from anthrax contact. I mean, that is fact. So, I don't see what justification they have for making this mandatory.
And a personal disclosure, at the beginning of the Iraq War, I was one of dozens of journalists embedded with American forces, in my case, the 4th Infantry Division. I received the anthrax vaccination and did not have any adverse reactions. Up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, royal breakup, hopes of a royal marriage dashed by word that wills won't. Well, they seemed destined for the altar, didn't they? The handsome prince with his mother's looks and the beautiful commoner. Now British papers are reporting that the romance between Prince William and Kate Middleton is over. So what happened? Here's Richard Roth in London.
Their engagement was such a safe bet, the souvenir china was already out. Now the only consensus about the royal breakup is that no one saw it coming.
It's been a real shock to people here in Britain. Even the most distinguished royal commentators have had to put their hands up and say, we didn't know this was coming.
24-year-old Prince William had hinted at some reluctance to marry right away, and his military career still ahead. And 25-year-old Kate Middleton found no pleasure in the pressure of media attention. One popular theory is that romance withered in the spotlight of celebrity.
Well, it's media pressure, I think. It's an inevitable aspect at this young age. Far too much pressure, I think.
Or maybe not.
I don't believe any of this nonsense about paparazzi, too much harassment and all that sort of thing. I think quite simply Prince William has fallen out of love with Kate Middleton.
They'd met at university and, called sensible and down-to-earth, never mind her commoner's background, Middleton was already measuring up as a future queen in some British eyes. But William's gaze had lately wandered, and there was that royal arm around a Brazilian student just a few weeks ago. Longtime royal photographer Arthur Edwards thinks the breakup was William's idea, and he'll regret it.
If I think about it, I think he's making a bit of a mistake here, because this girl is a really lovely girl. So I don't think he's going to find anyone as good as her for a long while, and he may well come back. Who knows, if she'll have him.
In the world's longest-running real-life soap opera, that hardly seems out of the question. But for now, the world's most eligible bachelor is back on the market. Richard Roth, CBS News, London.
And we'll be back. That is the CBS Evening News. Remember, on Face the Nation tomorrow, Vice President Dick Cheney. I'm Thalia Shura, CBS News in New York, and we leave you with more of today's Olympic celebration in Chicago. Good night, everyone.
CBS News. See it now, anytime, anywhere.